Hello viewers, you're welcome to my channel. This is Luchi's Design. This video is the sewing tutorial of the conical corset I posted the other day. In this video, you'll be learning a whole lot because the video is well detailed and easy to understand. Please make sure you watch till the end because I share a vital information concerning the sleeve part on the thumbnail, and also subscribe to my channel if you found my video helpful. Also turn on your notification bell so you get notified anytime I upload a new video. So this is the beautiful fabric I will be working with. It's a dartless fabric. I only use 2 yards for my body size. You can make use of any other fabric of your choice. That's totally up to you. Okay, I'll be showing you how I added my sewing allowance. On this side, I added 1/2 inch round. On the side front, I added 1/2 inch for my sewing allowance. There's no need of adding too much sewing allowance, so I will cut it off now. Alright. On my eyelet bar, I added 1/2 inch round. Also added 1/2 inch, the same way I did at the front. I'll now cut it off. Please make sure you knot this part where you'll be joining it with the back part. Also knot the upper part so that you won't get confused. That's how I notch it. I will now trim everything off. That's all for the back. I will set it aside. I will now cut the part I will be using to cover my bra cup. Okay, when I was cutting it, I removed 1/2 inch for that intake, so I will replace the 1/2 inch and add another 1/2 inch. That is 1 for this side. On this side now, I will add 0.75. That's what I added for my sewing allowance. On this side too, I added 0.75. I'll mark the same thing on this down part too, and I will cut it off. This is the end of the cutting part. I use hairstay to iron on my main fabric. For the lining, I use soft gum stay to interface it. So I will show you how I added my boning channel. I've already marked it. You can add as many as you want. Just watch how I added my own. Alright. When I'm sewing the boning, I will still add more. This is all my cut out pieces. I have ironed my interface on it to stabilize it. Okay, this is the boning I will be working with. I have plastic boning and resin boning. This resin boning is about 7 yards and the width is 1/2 inch. The plastic boning is 0.2. Okay, to place your boning now, you will face it this way. If you don't place it correctly, if you sit, the boning will be bending. So I will just stitch it at the both end. Just keep it this way. After sewing it, this is what you will have. This is how the boning will be facing. After that, you now give it a good press. Use your steam iron. If you don't have steam iron, sprinkle water on it. I'll be inserting my plastic boning to give it more structure. Just insert it the way you see me doing. After doing that, this is what you will have. It will be looking very beautiful. Just make sure the plastic boning don't get to the damper so it won't obstruct when you are folding it. Alright. I also did the same thing on my back. Please note that it's on my lining that I'm doing all that, not on the main fabric. Okay, this is for the cone. I told you on the cutting part that I'll be cutting it out. So I will place my front pattern on a fresh pattern to trace it out. I'll use my tracing wheel to trace it. Just follow what I'm doing. Mark it. If you remove your front part, it will be very visible. If you don't have tracing wheel, you can use marker to mark it so that if you remove it, the marker will show on the plain pattern. So I have marked it round. I use my pencil to highlight it. After that, I will remove it and mark the line out. Just follow the dotted line of the tracing wheel and rule it out. So I will now label it up and down the side so that you won't get confused. Just do the same. I've already cut it out, so this is what I have. The same thing. I'll be cutting 4 pieces of it. To give the cone structure, I'll be using this corset mesh. It also called bobbin net. You can use hard net. I prefer this because this is what will give it bouncing effect, and net will easily penetrate on it. It's very easy to use. So I added ½ inch on this side, the same way I added on my main fabric. Please don't forget that. So I will now cut 4 pieces of it, 2 for one side and 2 for the other side. Just use your pin to secure it, add your sewing allowance and cut it off. I have a trusted vendor where I normally buy my sewing stuff, so that's where I will cut my crinoline mesh. If you need their contact, just let me know on the comment section. So this is how you will place it. You can use your hemming gun to iron it so that it can stick together, but I'll be sewing it round. I've sewn it already. I use ½ inch to secure it. I also do the same thing on the back part. So the next thing I'll be doing now is to join the front and back together. Just place it together, make sure that it's equal, and use ½ inch to sew it. That's ½ inch I added for my sewing allowance. I'll just mark it this way and I will sew it. I'll do the same thing on the other side. This is my lining. I'll also close my main fabric. All right, so this is what I have when I was done sewing it. The same way I close my lining, I also do the same thing on my main fabric. Make sure you take only that ½ inch you added. Sew it the same way you sew the lining. So you will notch it now. Notch it. This notching is very important so that it will relax very well. If you don't notch it, it won't relax well. So notch the both side. After that, you open press it and iron it. Just open press it this way. I'll be using my press ball to open press and iron very well. Okay, this is when I was ironing it. I'll also turn it this side, and as you can see, the cone is already coming out. So the next thing now is to use my plastic boning to give it more structure. This plastic boning will make it to stand very well. So on this my side, I will place my plastic boning this way. You can iron it before placing it. I'll just go to my sewing machine now and sew it and come back and show you. Okay, this is what I have when I was done sewing it. I also sewed this side. I sew it straight. I didn't cut it. After I notch it here so that it will lay flat, and I will go and stitch it down. Okay, this is what I have. I added more boning channel on it. Just see the way I sew my boning. That's the same way you will do yours. If yours is not looking like this, you know that you didn't get it well. So I will just iron it now so that it can lay flat. Just iron it very well. This is what I have. So the next thing now is to work on my eyelet bar. This is my lining. So I will be sewing my boning on it to give the back structure. So I will mark out how I will sew my channel. This is ½ inch that I will use to join it. I'll also mark another ½ inch. This ½ inch is where I will add my first boning channel. I'll mark another 0.75 where I will be putting my eyelet. I'll just go to my sewing machine now and add my boning so that you can see. This is what you have. This is where I'll be adding my eyelet and the ½ inch I'll use to join it. So I'll also insert my plastic boning on it the same way I did on this part. I stitch the up and down to close it up. One side will be open, this side that you will turn it out. Just push it out. Please make sure you watch the cutting part. It's on my channel. Okay, I'll push it out. I'll go to my sewing machine now and sew it. I will sew it the same way I sew this one, so that it will look very, just follow this line on the lining part and sew it so that it will look like this when you are done. I'll do that later. So on our cup now, I'll be joining it. I'll just bring the upper and the lower part. Remember to notch it when you are cutting it. I'll join it with 1/2 inch. This is what you have when you are done joining it. I will now use my press ball, that's my tailor's ham, to open press it. Iron it very well. This ironing part is very important. I will also turn it this side and iron it. This is how neat it's looking. Place it on my cup now to see the outcome. This is what you will have. Alright, to give my bra cuff a push-up effect, I'll be altering it. I'll just fold 1/2 inch. 1/2 inch is like when you are sewing a dart. Just see the way I did my own, so that the cup will come out well. In case you don't have a double padded bra, this can also work for you. Next thing now is to use my fabric to wrap my cup. Okay, in case you have excess fabric, like excess sewing allowance, you can trim it off so that it will look very neat. I've trimmed mine off. After that, I will now wrap it. Just push it very well and use your pin to secure it. Push it so that you won't have any folding. I will be trimming it off a little bit. Alright, it's better you have excess allowance than shortage of fabric. Carefully trim it, maybe to 1/2 inch, where you will attach it on your main bodice. I've done that. See how it's looking very nice and neat. Just make sure there's no folding. See the line? Alright, I've secure it with pin. I will now go to my machine and hold the cup down. Just sew it. Please don't sew the upper part when you are sewing it. Just sew the two sides. I will also attach my cup on my lining. See what I have? Make sure you also trim your lining the way you trim your main fabric. This is very important so that it will match. Okay, to attach the cup, I will fold it this way and notch the middle. I'll also get the middle of my cup, fold my cup into two and get the middle. I will match it now. Just place it together and use your pin to secure it. I'll just pin it round. It's very good to draft very accurately. See the way everything is matching. If you draft well, you like the outcome of your dress. Also match this side. Okay, everything is equal. I will also do the same thing on the other side. After that, I will go to my sewing machine and sew it. This is what I have when I was done sewing it. Please make sure you give it a good press. Okay, the next thing now is to cut our yoke. Make sure you buy a net that stretches on one direction. The width will be stretchy while the length will be static, so that your yoke can lap very well on your body. That's the trick there. So I will have cut it off already. I will now unfold it. I cut 2 for the front and I cut 4 for the back. That's 2 for this side and 2 for the other side. I'll just place it together. I'll go to my machine and sew my neck round. I will trim the excess off. Okay, after trimming it off, I will turn it inside out. Just turn it like this, and I will now go to my sewing machine and hold it down so that it doesn't move. I'll also do the same thing on the back side. I've done it already. I'll turn it inside. So now I will be fixing it. To do that, I will get the middle of the yoke and also the middle of the fabric. I'll match it together. I'll use my pin to secure it. Just pin it round the way you see me doing. I'm pinning it now. Okay, it's matching. I'll also do the same thing on the other side. That's how you pin it to make your work easier. That's how I join my yoke. I also join the back. Make sure you leave ½ inch on the back to join your eyelet bar. This is very important. Please take note of that. I will now stitch the back parts. I've done that already. See what I have. I will not cheat. Please not cheat and trim the excess out. Next thing now is to attach my eyelet bar. I'll just match it on the main fabric with the ½ inch I left and sew it down. I'll go to my sewing machine and do that now. Okay, I've done it for the both sides. I will now sew my lining. I use my pin to secure my yoke so that I won't sew it together with my main fabric. So this is my modesty panel. The length is the length of my blouse. Before I close it, I want to mention something. This is my modesty panel. If you want to attach modesty panel, this is how you will attach it. I won't be doing that. I'll be sewing it separately. I will do a detailed tutorial on that. I will now close the two sides. I will close my neck, my back neck. Armhole is open. Please just watch closely what I'm doing on how to sew the neckline. Make sure you use your pin to hold the yoke down so that you will not stitch it together. I'll align the lining and the main fabric. I will sew it on my sewing machine now. Okay, I'll close the two sides. I close the back neck as my side. I will turn it inside out now. If you have watched up to this length and you have not subscribed to my channel, please kindly hit the subscribe button and turn on your notification bell for more videos. I've done turning it inside out. For the cone part, I will push it out. Just push it the way you see me doing. It will be looking like this. I've already ironed it. For the hem, I'll go to my machine now and stitch it down. I'll stitch it down and come back and show you the next thing to do. I've already done it. I use my pin to hold it before stitching it down. I will now trim up the excess so that it can be equal. So after that, I cut a long stripe of fabric that I will use to fold it. It's 2 inches by width. I will now place it this way. For the length, I measure the hem of my blouse. To cut out the length, I added 2 inches for sewing allowance. I will just match it round and sew it. After sewing it, this is what you will have. I also trim off this excess allowance. Alright, and I will fold this way. Fold it this way and top stitch on it. I'll do it and come back and show you what you have. This is what you will have. It's looking very neat. The sleeve, I have a detailed tutorial on how to cut and fix a sleeve. It's on my channel. Please do check it out. If you are using a net to cut your sleeve, please don't add any allowance if you want it to lap well on your skin. This is the eyelet part. If you want me to do the sleeve on the thumbnail, let me know on the comment section. I use the sleeve that I want, the one that fits my body type. I have a detailed tutorial on how to fix eyelets. I will put the link on the description channel. Thanks for watching.